WyoGives is a 24-hour day of online giving, supporting nonprofits across the state of Wyoming. It's our 5th annual WyoGives Day, which is a milestone. It also happens to fall on Statehood Day, which is July 10th. So we're super excited to be celebrating Wyoming and the spirit of giving on Wyoming Statehood Day.
WyoGives is an initiative of the Wyoming Nonprofit Network. The Wyoming Nonprofit Network is the official statewide association for nonprofits. Our mission is to amplify, cultivate, and advocate for Wyoming's nonprofits.
At the Wyoming Nonprofit Network, we believe WyoGives is a very important initiative. It's one day to celebrate Wyoming and for communities to come together and collaborate and support the nonprofit sector that does so much.
Live here, give here. Live here, give here.
Live here, give here.
It is the 5th annual WyoGives Day, and Jody, look at how close we are to $2 million. How exciting is that?
We are so close. It's very exciting. Halfway through.
Is it all right? Like the day has flown by for me. It is. It's noon. That means we are officially 12 hours done on WyoGives and 12 hours to go. Talk to me. I think you have some good news for us.
I do have a couple of things. First of all, we'll be doing the governor's proclamation. Governor Gordon will be doing a proclamation for us at 3 o'clock at the Capitol. So I'll scoot away for that. And I know some of the local nonprofits are going to be there. So I'll come back with some photos and share that information. But Governor Gordon has been very kind every year to do that for us, and then been very supportive of WyoGives. So thank you, Governor Gordon. And then I also have our golden ticket winners for the 10 to noon slot. And so drum roll.
That's the best I can do.
It's Sheridan Area Search and Rescue and Wyoming Wilderness Association. So they each receive $500 cash grant.
Yoo-hoo! Congratulations to them. One of the fun things I like about these golden tickets that we're doing is I get to hear about charities that might not already be on my radar. I think about half of the ones that have won the additional $500 are ones that I wasn't aware of. And hopefully all of you that are listening are learning about new charities as well. And you can go to wyogives.org and through there donate to charities that you're passionate about, and that automatically puts them in the running for them to be able to get that golden ticket, that extra $500. When is the next drawing going to be for that, Jody?
So we'll have we do it every 2 hours. So we'll have a noon to 2, 2 to 4, and 2 midnight. So even if you're up 10 p.m. to midnight, we'll have
so get donating is what you're saying. You're telling everybody. And I'm looking up here. We're at 1,832,007. I love that 7 there. Oh, nope. Look, it just changed it. Someone just donated $50. I love that. And they're just rolling. I could just sit and watch this all day, Jody. I'm having so much fun looking at those numbers. And 369 of the 380 organizations that are a part of WyoGives have received donations from 3,606 donors. That's amazing.
That is amazing. It's so exciting to see. I had done a quick check looking at last year, and we are ahead of pace for last year where we were at noon. So in 2023. So keep going.
Keep going. Do you think it's the good luck because it's Wyoming's birthday today?
I think that's it. I think we did, really the nonprofits did a fantastic job helping us get the word out. It's a beautiful day. So yeah, it's such a great day to celebrate Wyoming.
Speaking of nonprofits getting the word out, one of the cool things about this live stream that we're doing is you have the ability in the comments to do a shout out. So if you're listening, if you're watching, share this, and in the comments too, let us know that you're here. Let us know some of your favorite Wyoming charities. And that way, like I said, there's so many, there's 380 organizations that are a part of this. So drop in the comments your favorite one. Jody, thank you to you and everyone at the Wyoming Nonprofit Network for all your hard work you're doing in front of the camera and behind the scenes, not only for WyoGives Day, but all year long. I got thrown off there. Chris is saying, shout out to your charity on the noon live stream. Jody, thank you. We'll see you back later on today.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right, you see that I am no longer alone on the screen. With me, I have Mike. Mike, how are you doing on this WyoGives and this fabulous 134th birthday for the state of Wyoming?
Kathy, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. You know, Wyoming, for being over a century, pretty good. I think this is really nice.
Yeah, yeah. And I keep on saying, for being 134, she sure is looking good.
Absolutely. Happy birthday to Wyoming. I think it's a neat thing to do it on. It's perfect to see how people still care about the territory we live in and the people who live. Very glad that everybody, especially I'm seeing the numbers running across the screen, like you were just mentioning. It's incredibly generous right now to keep that spirit of Wyoming and our community
right
alive.
We kind of live in the best place, not that you and I are biased. So one of the things that I say about Wyoming is what America was, and that's not a bad thing. And Mike, you do so much for teaching the rest of the world all about Wyoming. Can you talk to me a little bit about your organization and what they do for Wyoming as a state?
Oh, absolutely. Well, as most people, somebody might have heard of this event called Cheyenne Frontier Days. This is a wonderful event that's been going in 1987, and it was put in place by the people that were worried at the time. At that time, the state is old, but we already had telephones, running water. We had, the railroad. We thought we were going to be just like every place else, and people were desperately worried that we forget the amazing things that help make Wyoming a very special place. And so they decided in 1997 that they needed a celebration to celebrate the Old West. And I thought that's amazing. What a lot of people don't remember or realize is that the United States government, in particular, declared the United States frontier closed the same year that we state. So people back then were thinking about that all the Old West, and they had an Old West back then, Spanish, and that's what the celebration of Cheyenne Frontier Days is all about, to preserve that wonderful heritage, fantastic spirit that made the West what it is today.
And it's the daddy of them all. And I know maybe you don't know this, Mike, I met my husband at Frontier Days at the beer tent. So I actually feel like it's a real big part of our personal family history. And I know it's a tradition for not only our family, but lots of other families to bring relatives and out of towners and kind of do the great migration down to Cheyenne every single July. So you're at the Cheyenne Frontier Days Old West Museum, helping us not only keep alive the traditions of Frontier Days, but the state as a whole. How about, all right, I have a question for you, especially as someone that is from the city, from Milwaukee. What makes someone a cowboy or a cowgirl? Is it the Wranglers, the hat, the boots, or is it something else entirely?
Well, we've been asked questions since 1978. Our museum is relatively new, but we've been collecting about all this stuff. And of course, to everything that we have here at Cheyenne Frontier Days. I mean, heck, people are driving around the state, the Cowboys, people recognize us as being the cowboy state. Yeah. So what does it mean to be? Well, we've been asking ourselves about that question here at Cheyenne Frontier Days specifically, not only a cowboy, but who? And, it all comes down to the attitude that people had. You had people that the cattle industry put up here in the state. You had people that are willing to take initiative on their own and willing to take risks and go out into the unknown to challenge nature, to go ahead and tame a life for their own. And that's what makes a cowboy and a cowgirl is supremely confident. They certainly have a sense of supreme, and they stand tall no matter where they are, willing to help others because we're all in this together. And together, makes a cowboy.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And that's not just because I don't like horses. It's a well-kept secret. Horses make me cry, but I still feel like I can wear the cowgirl hat and all that, because you're right. It's about the spirit. It's about living a life of grit and grace. It's about the sense of community that we're seeing here on WyoGives Day, and that like little bit of an edge that means you can survive a February in Wyoming, right?
Oh, it does set us apart, doesn't it? Yeah, you get one good winter, and any good wind that makes actually in one direction or the other, that's a good experience.
Yeah.
And that separates people who aren't going to residents from the rest. People who could just lean into it and take it for what it is.
Yeah,
That's good.
we make the best out of whatever gets blown our way instead of what gets thrown our way. So as we celebrate Wyoming's admission to the Union in 1890 as the 44th state, this is a lot of numbers for me to remember, Mike. What are 3 of your favorite random facts about Wyoming?
Well, okay, so some of my favorite random facts about Wyoming is, first, Frontier Days is the birthplace of the modern sport of rodeo. So every other rodeo, Calgary, Pendleton, Houston, or otherwise, they learned how to do it from us.
That's why we're the daddy of them all.
That's why it got its name. So it's called the daddy of them all, because we were first and everybody came to see how we put the show together. That's talking about people that like to go out into the countryside and enjoy Wyoming's beauty. We're also, of course, the first national park, which is Yellowstone National Park. We have the first national monument, which of course is Tower. And a lot of people don't realize this, but we also have the first national forest, which is forest.
I didn't know that one, Mike. You got me with that one. I didn't know.
I'm sorry, Cheyenne, yes, it's wonderful. But Wyoming is great because people recognize what it was before it changed irrevocably. And we're so lucky that that happened. So those are that were just because we have all these firsts, but we have other firsts too. Of course, naturally, everybody from Wyoming, that Wyoming is the place that gave women the right to vote first. And so we're known as the, right? So that's just really cool. But a lot of people don't know, bringing it to the modern era, the stewardesses in the world. I mean, we fly all over the place. We go from country to country, and no matter where, attendants, both men and women, that fly along with us. The very first women who were trained in that profession were trained here in Cheyenne, Wyoming in 1930.
Okay, see, look at you. You got me with another one. I thought I knew all the things, and apparently I didn't. You got me, Mike. That was perfect. Okay, so we're talking about how you and other organizations like yours preserve Wyoming's history throughout the state. Do you have any other charities or organizations that you work with that you just want to mention so people can keep that in mind when they head over to WyoGives.org to make their donation?
People need to keep in mind is the one thing that's hiding in almost every community is a special little place that has the heart of the community, the soul of what the community was and what the community is amongst them. What I encourage people to do, as they have the opportunity, please give to these organizations, and they're everywhere, in every community, trying to preserve and save and everything that makes your community great. And it's something that's incredibly important to us. People have been very generous to us for the last 40 years as we've been a museum. We've been able to grow exponentially. We're reaching around the world with a history of Cheyenne Frontier Days, but also of Wyoming and the West. And we have the support of people who give generously.
Oh, that is such a great reminder. I know in Glen Rock, where I live, we have a little geological museum that I take my kids to all the time so they can see the dinosaurs. So wrapping it up, Mike, how about you share with everyone that's watching, that's going to be watching, let them know, what are your thoughts about WyoGives? What does WyoGives mean to you?
WyoGives is absolutely fantastic. At the Old West Museum, we now for what they're allowing us to be able to do. The generosity that people provide to us helps this keep the lights on, something very mundane. It also helps bring professional staff into and help people that are professionals to help share our knowledge of our territory. And it's without you, we couldn't reach the people from around the world that come to Wyoming and appreciate what it is, whether they're young. This makes a big difference, and we reach people across the globe thanks to your help.
Mike, I want to jump in here and say quickly, thank you for your time And I wanted to throw one more question at you just because we got a couple extra minutes here, Mike, while we got you. You know, I live here in South Carolina. I'm lucky enough to have been to Wyoming and been across Wyoming. I played golf out in Green River once, which was a lot of fun, and so much beauty all across the great state there. I'm very curious if you could do me a favor and tell me and tell the world, for someone who's never been to Wyoming, what is Wyoming like? Like there's a lot of confusion, I think, and really a lot of lack of awareness as to what really Wyoming is like. So just broadly speaking, for someone who's never been to Wyoming, why should someone come visit or consider moving there? Like, what makes Wyoming so special?
Very good. Oh, what a great question. Well, what does make Wyoming so special? It's amazing that we have only 500,000 people. We're a territory the same size as the country of Hungary, but we have people that live here at the roof of the North America. But what makes Wyoming really special is not to make this state great, but the people are able to come here and see things that they'd never be able to see else. If you wanted to see the West the way it was, before we had roads, before we had jet streams in some cases flying and covering our skies, if you and a taste of the beauty and the nature that really inspired awe and a sense of for generations, Wyoming is a place that you can come, you can get that sense out there, being a pioneer yourself and experiencing what it was like to be right next to nature. The appreciation of the very strong people that came to Wyoming and made this state what it is.
I think that you hit the nail on the head. So as someone who came here from Milwaukee, it was absolutely a culture shock when I moved out to go to the University of Wyoming. First of all, Mike, I could not figure out what those huge fences were holding in. For the life of the snow fence, I could not figure it out. And I'll never forget when we were driving, it would have been coming up from Denver to go to Laramie, and there must have been the Terry Bison Ranch. There's the bison. There were people out on horses riding, and I could not believe that truly was still a way of life. I just thought it was in the movies. I knew I wanted to find a cowboy, but I didn't realize that there's still active cowboys. And now, as someone that's raising 5 children in this lifestyle and helping local ranchers brand and seeing the grit it takes for them to wake up at 5:30 to feed horses before they get on the school bus, it's just a beautiful thing that Wyoming still is that way, and that museums like yours can showcase how we've developed, but yet how many similarities there still are.
It's true. It's amazing that our lifestyle continues here in Wyoming, that our forefathers saw here. And it's, to me, I thought after living other places, I just missed to see the horizons and, being able to see the mountains 50, 60 miles away. And, it's still just very comfortable. It's wide open, but it's just amazing to be back and to see all of this. It's an experience you can get almost nowhere else.
Yeah. And speaking of an experience you can have nowhere else, I'm not going to name the place because # not a sponsor, but I did when I was out there for WyoGives Day in 2021 to celebrate must have been the best steak of my life. Like you want just delicious. Maybe I didn't eat enough for lunch. There's one thing
we can do right, Chris. It's a steak. Did you have Rocky Mountain oysters when you were here, Chris?
Oh, just everything is so, so delicious. I mean, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
It is so true. Mike, thank you so much, not only for your time hanging out with us today, but for all the work you, your organization, and all the other organizations are doing in Wyoming. It is WyoGives Day. Head to wyogives.org. If Western history is your jam, Mike is your man. There's tons of different charities up there that believe and have a passion in that same thing. You can donate again at wyogives.org, and happy birthday, Wyoming.
Happy birthday, Wyoming. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Kathy.
Happy birthday, Wyoming. We'll see you guys back here at 1 p.m. Wyoming time. Still doing the math in my head here, Kathy. We'll see you in a little bit. The 5th annual WyoGives is made possible through the support of our partners. Our incentive pool partner is the Hughes Charitable Foundation. Our lead bison sponsor is Wells Fargo, Our jade sponsor is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Wyoming. Our Meadowlark sponsor is EOG Resources. And our media partners are Wyoming PBS, Yesco, Wyoming Public Media, WyoFile, Checked In Media, and Town Square.